Hi, welcome to Harmony with Su-Lynn. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to add deformers to your character rig. A cutout character rigged with deformations can be animated in a way that likens the fluidity and flexibility of traditional animation. So let's start. You'll need a simple character design that follows the rigging stage as seen in my tutorials on character breakdown, auto-patch, and constraints. I'll put links in the video description below. You can also add deformers to a simple character breakdown. Additionally, deformers can be used to tweak, enhance, or facilitate frame-by-frame animation when needed. Select the rigging tool here. You'll need advanced animation selected in toolbars. In the tool properties, you'll see all the different types of deformers available in Harmony Premium: bone, curve, envelope, game bone, freeform, and new to version 24, shape aware. In this tutorial, I'll show you 3 examples: the bone, curve, and envelope. And stay to the end, where I'll show you how to create a new deformation chain on drawing substitutions. Let's start with an exercise. Make a simple rectangle shape to represent a limb. Select the rigging tool. Choose the Bone Deformer if you want to create a bone-like structure in which each part is solid, but with articulations that are flexible, mostly useful for animating a character's limbs. Make sure Automatically Create a Group is selected. The deformer is always applied to the drawing. Apply the Bone Deformer by clicking where you want points for the articulations, such as the hip, knee, and ankle. You can change the articulation radius, or the circle of influence, between the offset and last articulation point if you want an exaggerated rubber hose animation style. Select Transform to test it. Next, select the Curve Deformer, which allows you to deform parts of a character using a Bezier curve. They are typically used to deform parts of a character that are flexible, such as hair, mouths, eyebrows, or torsos. Apply the Curve Deformer by pressing and holding down where you see the cursor to create the point. Then drag towards the direction where you want your curve to bend to set the position of this curve's Bezier handle. Press and hold down the cursor at the location where you want the curve to end, then drag backwards and release to create the Bezier handle before that point. A tip is to keep the Bezier handles nice and short, so it is easy to manipulate. While it is in edit mode, highlighted in red, you can tidy up the position of points and Bezier handle lengths. Select Transform to test it. Select Show Selected Deformers and hide all others to hide or reveal the deformers to see how the pose will look in the animation. The envelope is the most widely used deformer in character rigs. I'll demonstrate how to add the envelope deformer to my character rig Cholula. Always select the drawing. I'll start with the upper leg piece. Select the envelope deformer. You might find it easier to see just the piece. Use Enable Solo mode or disable the adjacent pieces. Decide the offset or starting point. Click and hold down where you see the cursor and drag the Bezier handle in the direction you want the handle to follow. Release, making a handle that is not too long. Don't worry too much on making a perfect trace of the piece. We can always edit that later. A tip is to have as few points as needed, but do consider how you will manipulate the pieces in the keyframe animation sequence, going from one angle to another or pose to pose. When you're ready to close the envelope deformer, hold down the Option key and click on the first point of your deformation chain. In edit mode, you can adjust the position of points and the Bezier handles. Hold Option to move just one handle. You can also nudge a deformation point by selecting it, then pressing the arrow keys. Repeat to add other points. Envelope deformations are very similar to curve deformations, except that their last point connects to their first point to make a closed shape. Take Enable Solo off. Select Transform to test it. To re-edit, select the rigging tool. You'll see the points and curves in the deformation chain is red in edit mode. To reset, use Reset Current Keyframe. You can select Show Selected Deformers and Hide All Others to hide deformers. Now I'll show you the automated method. You can also add envelope deformers by selecting the drawing. Note this will only work when the drawing is selected. Select Animation, Envelope Creator, Create Envelope. A dialog box will open where you can put in the number of points you want. The points might not always be in the position you want, so select the rigging tool to edit. Make sure you move points when you see the crosshair indicator. If you do make an unwanted point, Command Z to undo. You can also take a look in the Deformation Group node, selecting the arrow. As you select the curve, it is highlighted on the camera view. You can edit or delete any curves. Thanks for staying to the end. I'll show you how to create new deformation chains on drawing substitutions. This is a very useful method where deformers can substantially increase the range of movements and animations a cutout character rig is able to perform, without having to draw new poses for it or resorting to frame-by-frame animation. If you have drawing substitutions for the eye, select the first drawing, Envelope Creator, Create Envelope. Go to the next drawing, create new deformation chain, Envelope Creator, create envelope. Repeat for all the drawing substitutions as needed. You may need to use the manual way of adding deformation points on some pieces, such as the closed eye. Select Rename Transformation and put in the names of the eye poses. Let's test it. To reset, use Reset Current Keyframe. When you're ready to animate, to ensure your model doesn't disappear after the first frame, do one of the following. Hold Shift and select the first and last cell and select Fill Empty Cells. Right-click on the first frame in the timeline and select Extend Exposure or shortcut F5. And that's it for deformers, bone, curve, and envelope, and creating new deformation chains. Check out my tutorials for character breakdown, auto patch, and constraints. I'll put links in the video description below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.